the fall weather here in the Netherlands has been surprisingly nice. I remember last year when I was here around the same time, it rained so much. So I was fully expecting it to be raining all the time. But this pleasant surprise has allowed me to see this beautiful country in a different light during the most colorful time of the year. This past few weeks, I've been readjusting to the more peaceful and quiet life of living in a small village, which is something I've been looking forward to. But every time I come back, I need a period of time to readjust myself and figure out my routine here all over again. And recently, I've had a few realizations about myself and my life after quitting my job. Back when I was still working a corporate job, I always felt that I didn't have enough time to do all the things I want to, like exploring, hiking, traveling. But now that I have the gift of time, it seems like I still haven't been doing much of that either. So the question is, why? It's been nearly 4 years since I quit my corporate life, and if you include the time during the pandemic when we all had to work from home, that's more than 5 years that I had a reason to get out of the house every single day. Naturally, I'm a homebody, and if I had the choice, I would probably pick staying inside. And I think I've done a lot of that during this period. A little too much, if I'm being honest. As dreadful as the morning commutes to work was, it dragged me out of the house on a regular basis. You know that feeling when you dread doing something, but then once you start doing it, you get more energized and feel more alive? I think that's what the morning commutes did for me. It invigorated me in a way. These days, the more I stay home, the more I tend to not want to go out. Just glued to my computer screen, browsing, coding, doing all sorts of nerdy things indoors. The other day, there was a power outage here, and naturally the internet got cut out as well. It made me realize just how much my life is dependent on the internet these days. Even when I'm writing code for my side projects, there's so much dependency for the internet, such as looking up the docs or connecting to services and APIs. The internet is such a beautiful thing though, from learning to discovering new things. But its ease of access also introduced this concept of doom scrolling, where we can get sucked into this black hole of mindlessly scrolling through the countless contents of various topics, making time go by so much faster. So when the power went out and took the Wi-Fi with it, it brought a sense of stillness and calm, as it seemed to have magically slowed down time. Everything I did felt more present, and all the thoughts I had were more mindful. It felt like I could feel the time pass and see my thoughts drift through the stillness and silence around me, without any distractions. It was such a peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful moment. And it reminded me the importance of disconnecting. Here's another thing I realized. When I'm here in the Netherlands or when I'm with my partner, I tend to enjoy going outside doing things way more. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because doing things and sharing experiences with someone is special in its own ways. But it made me realize how little time I spend with myself exploring and doing things outside. While I appreciate living in solitude, as it gives me space to introspect, reflect, and recharge, I can't help but feel sometimes I'm wasting life away behind a screen. Back in Toronto, it feels like I always have some form of excuse to not go out. Anything from bad weather to construction and congestion, or sometimes I'll even convince myself that it's too late in the day already, when it's only 11 a.m. On one hand, I'm a simple guy with very simple needs. So living in a condo building with a gym and a grocery store within a 5-minute walk, that's about everything I need to survive. But maybe this is one of the reasons why I have no need to explore outside my bubble. Or maybe that thinking in itself is another excuse I give myself. Whatever it is, I think I should go outside more and not stay in like the hermit that I've been. Because I think life is so much more than the screen that we stare into, or the 4 walls that we confine ourselves in. Sometimes I forget just how beautiful this world is. A little intermission here before I continue on with my thoughts. Last week, Gijs's mom made us a traditional Dutch comfort dish called stampot with kale, which is essentially a potato mashed with kale served with sausages. I absolutely love this dish. And when we were at the grocery store this week, I saw that kale and sausage was on sale for 99 cents. So I thought I would do this week's meal prep with a stampot spin to it. I'll call this one Kale Stampot Inspired Fried Rice. Aside from the simple and comforting food, there's also a lot to appreciate about the Dutch culture. There's a saying that goes, "There's no bad weather, only bad clothing." While I don't think this originated from the Netherlands, but the people here live by that. Regardless of the weather, rain or snow, hot or cold, people still enjoy being outside and riding their bicycles to places. It makes me wonder, maybe I need a little bit more of that mindset as well, and have less excuses to go outside. Sometimes, it might seem like we don't have enough time, without realizing how much of the time we do have is wasted on things that don't add anything to our lives. For example, consuming endless media and content through the internet. I used to tell myself, if only I'll have more time, then I'll do this, or I'll do that. And now that I do have the time, it feels like I'm still finding excuses to stay inside my comfort zone. So I'm realizing that it's not necessarily what we don't have, but rather recognizing and utilizing what we do have. We often give ourselves so many excuses to postpone or avoid doing the things that we want, and end up wasting the precious time we have, watching the world go by, waiting for something to happen. But the reality is, time doesn't wait for us. The weather won't always be good, and life is not going to be perfect. This idea that we will finally be happy when we get that promotion or buy that dream house, or when we have a certain amount of money or free time, constantly chasing and waiting for that breakout moment, rather than living in the present and being grateful for what we already have. There's no milestones in life that will magically bring happiness upon being achieved. So don't wait to live, because life is now. As comfortable as it is to stay home and stick to familiar routines, I think I want to make a change. Even though it's a little early for New Year's resolution, I want to set a goal for myself to step outside of my comfort zone more and learn to enjoy exploring places and doing things by myself, and stop waiting for that perfect moment to start appreciating the beauty of this world and all that life has to offer. After all, happiness isn't a destination. It's the journey in which we learn to embrace.